How are you doing?
Well, how are you? Oh,
Like you have family members down there, I see.
One change the signal.
I'm going to out you, Jodi. This is great. You remember earlier I said Jick, and I said a couple of people asked me what it was. It was Jodi. So
it's like a foreign language.
I know. Well, you say Nielsen, don't you, in your market?
Yes.
You do. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to explore if the TV business is a good one, but in a positive way. I think it is, but I'm going to ask you guys how optimistic you are about the television business, and then you're going to give us your deepest, darkest secret. Okay? So Jodi, you've been in the job, you're just next to me, so you get it first. You were CRO when I met you, weren't you? And then now you're CEO. Mm-hmm. So you're seeing all the skeletons in the cupboard, is that the saying? Mm-hmm. How is it now being at the top and looking at the business? How's the business in New Zealand? And what's your deepest, darkest fear about this business?
Be fair to say that business in New Zealand has been a real challenge this year. So I stepped into the role on the 1st of February. 4 months later, I posted the worst results the organisation's ever had.
You've only been in there for about a year, so you can blame the other person, can't you?
And we've had to significantly reduce the size of our business, so reduce our workforce, think differently about our content mix, but at the same time, significantly sign off CapEx investment for digital transformation and a streaming platform that will set us up for the next 10 years. Yeah. So this year has been about survive, but I'm really optimistic around the thrive approach, and next year will absolutely be one where we can stabilise and then start to see growth. What's
interesting about your market is viewership is up.
Correct.
Isn't it?
It is.
What's happened to demand?
Down.
Why?
Well, that's why we're here, right? I mean, talking around all of the challenges and the skeletons in the closet. I stood on a stage at a conference a couple of months ago and I shared some of the IPO data, and I said, 42% of the best brands in the world out of all the brands in the world, they invest 42% of all of their budget in TV, and in our market, it's about 12%. So I think there's a significant challenge that we need to overcome. So I saw that picture up there of Obama with the word hope. I would say more determination than hope.
Okay, and do you have a deep, dark fear for this industry at all that you want to share on stage? We're quite a nice, accommodating crowd. It's almost like a private environment in here. Do you have one?
Deep, dark fear is that local doesn't survive, that we lose local voices and the global tech giants win.
Well, because you've got newsrooms closing in New Zealand, that's where that's coming from. It's a different business to your own, but yeah, that's fair enough. Kelly, I'm going to shoot to you because I'm going to ask a nasty question based on what Ian said.
We're being optimistic, Justin.
I am optimistic, but I think Ian was interestingly optimistic, wasn't he? Because he said some nasty things about TV falling into the newspaper trap. And I want to ask you, do you think broadcasters are a bit guilty of sort of managing decline? We've heard that claim a lot. Franey said it earlier. And do you think that's a fair mindset from your perspective?
I don't. Look, I have a huge amount of respect for Ian, but I don't necessarily agree with him on that point. I think the premature death of television has been called many, many times in my career. I've been selling TV for nearly 4 decades, and that, throughout that period, people have called the death of TV. I think TV has adapted and developed really, really well over the years, and I think it will continue to do so. I think we're in this digital transformation as we transition from kind of aerials and satellites and cable to IP, and we're kind of riding that wave of digital transformation. And I think I don't like the word broadcasters. I think we do need to kind of come up with a different phrase, because
do you think it's old-fashioned? Is that what you're...
Well, we do more than broadcast. Yes, we broadcast, but we also stream. We stream live. We stream on demand. We're a platform owner. We produce.
Yeah.
We do lots of things. We're a modern television business, and I think certainly from our perspective, we might be a little bit further ahead than Jodi in our digital transformation. But our streaming service, ITVX, is 2 years old, and it's the fastest growing streaming service in the UK over the last 2 years. And we've seen revenue. We've seen double digit. This is really hard to say. We've seen double-digit digital revenue growth for 13 consecutive years.
Right.
So look, I think it's changing. Viewing habits are changing, but I think television is adapting really well. And look, I think the narrative that we've got to tell. And look, if we're not telling it well enough, I take that criticism from Ian. But the narrative, I think all of us as television companies are trying to tell is that, look, this is what we have to offer is incredible mass reach. Our linear business is still really, really powerful, but we have incredible mass reach. We have now addressability at scale. We've got 40 million registered users, and we're now launching linear addressability. We've got incredible ways to integrate brands creatively. We're now spending a lot of money, investing a lot of money in outcomes, proving not just the effectiveness of TV, but the effect TV has on other media. And TV drives a multiplier effect on other media. And we're now, as a fifth pillar, I think we're now looking at diversifying our revenue into new streams. So I feel really optimistic.
Yeah, no, I do share that with you. The interesting thing is when you look at, I think it was last week, wasn't it? There was noises that you might end up getting acquired by a French company because your share price is low. Should we all be buying shares in ITV at the moment?
That's not a question I'm going to answer.
No, okay, fine.
We're a PLC.
Okay, but do you feel as though you're undervalued, though? When you look at it,
we do. I think we
look at your studio business and your ads business.
Yeah, I think we are frustrated about the valuation because, as you said, we're a big global producer of content, and the multiples on production companies are about 10 times, and we are equally a UK television business. And if you look at our value at the moment, effectively the stock market is valuing. If you value our production business at 10 times, it's valuing our UK broadcasting business at 0. And we'll make the thick end of £300 million profit just in the broadcast business this year. So I do think we are undervalued, and I do think that's why there is speculation.
Okay, fair enough. Buy some ITV shares. Fabrice, you're actually going to list your business on the London Stock Exchange, right?
Next Monday. Yeah.
Next Monday. So you must be very optimistic if you're doing that. Otherwise, that's going to be a shit listing. Tell me, why are you doing that? Where are you in this whole, are you optimistic about your business? I know a lot of it relies on pay TV revenue.
Exactly. So I share Kelly's optimism. We were born 40 years ago as a pay TV company in France, and now we are a multi-country group with plenty of free-to-air channels, pay TV channels. We welcome some third-party platform inside My Canal, which is our digital property. So we are selling Netflix, Max, Paramount Plus, etc., etc. So and advertising is doing great. So yes, we are very happy. It's been a long journey. We were part of Vivendi Group that decided yesterday, actually, formally to split into different companies, and we will be listed next Monday. Yeah. So I'm coming back on next Sunday to push the button with my executive committee. That's fun. Yeah, once in a lifetime. Mm-hmm. And on the advertising part, I share exactly what Kelly says. I think that probably we did bad 10 or 15 years ago. Because all what you mentioned, like econometric, ROI studies, we're all doing. I mean, you started with ThinkBox like 10 years ago, something like that. We started in France like 8 years ago. We're doing one every 2 years. It's fantastic. It's doing great, delivering great storytelling to TV. But maybe we started when we were here, and maybe some marketeers, like now they're probably 35, 40, 45, lost that part of the storytelling. So we made probably the mistakes like 10, 15 years ago. I think we now have the strengths and the good storytelling to fight. We have excellent content. I mean, we at Canal Plus spend 3.7 billion content, sport. I mean, you had fantastic panel with sport just half an hour ago. I think we prove that content is great. I see also a way back from advertisers, from buying audiences to buying context again. This may sound like an old thing, but when I started this business, we were doing lots of the trading in shows, not audiences. Then we skipped into data and so on. When I entered Canal Plus, we were selling back to only 10-15% of the entry based on context, and now it's 35 years ago. So I'm very confident about that. And we are also selling third party as a sales house. So we started a very strategic partnership with Max, the Warner Brothers platform. We made a unique deal. It's the first time in Europe. Second time is Netherlands, just weeks after me. So we're partnering with them, and we also apply to that the same. So digital and TV works the same. We are also bringing back advertisers to buy specific series and context, not only audiences. So I think that both premium media can work together.
And to be clear, vast majority of your revenues are from pay TV, and pay TV is growing in the markets that you're operating in. And you're in the process of buying the multi-choice as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
In South Africa? Right. And they're all growing businesses?
Yes. Pay TV is a growing market.
Yeah.
We are now in 50 countries, but advertising is also growing.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Jodi. Maybe when we meet next year, we are different.
It'll filter through to the Southern Hemisphere.
So be confident.
Convinced of it. Ben, you can take the US question, right? It's interesting that rest of the world, pay TV is doing quite well. The US, it just isn't, is it?
No, not so. I mean, there's clearly a lot of cord cutting, but at the same time, with the birth of new streaming services, I think just the revenue model's changing. Now it's shifting obviously towards ad-supported streams, being able to either get a discount or get access to services for free. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's what I think is optimistic about the future, because there's definitely a transformation happening, across the spectrum. But when you look at television as a programming genre, the split between kind of conventional broadcast and cable and kind of pure play streamers is like 60-40, 60% consumed via conventional broadcast cable, 40% streaming. But when you filter for ad-supported television, broadcast and cable owns 85% of the audience, and yet they're only getting 60% of the ad dollars. So to me, that is what has to change.
Where's the rest going?
What agencies would like to call video, which is social video.
Okay.
To me, I don't put that. I think what we have to do is really drive in the industry what constitutes broadcast quality television. I think TV is used way too liberally, and I think, yes, there is a market for digital video, but I think there's an incentive to kind of mix that in with broadcast television that has a dilutive effect on CPMs. And if you're buying that media, there's obviously logic for that, because you can basically, drive commodity pricing across all classes of video. But there is a huge difference. You see it in the attribution studies based on the work that I did at 605, where we're measuring attribution. Television is driving search, it drives click-through, it drives sales. It's just that measurement is abysmal, and it has to change. But
there's this delta, isn't there, between what clients believe to what it actually delivers. We know that's a major issue. I'm going to cut you off there and ask you for your deep, dark fear of the industry, being from the US market. What is it, Ben? Wake up in the middle of the night in cold sweats?
I would say, commercial grade programming, moving through programmatic channels that, have a lot of fraud, and there's a lot of gray matter.
I don't think the broadcast community talk much about fraud. It's quite remarkable in the CTV environment. Maybe that's a point that we could talk about that more. Jodi, what do you think?
Sure. Look, I think that the more opportunities that we can engage directly with advertising agencies, I think will certainly help with that narrative.
Yeah.
So you're building your own customer data platforms, having local research in particular that really points to all of those metrics. I think that's probably the best way to combat that. But you're right. I think that, we've spoken about fraud in the past, but certainly not in the last couple of years.
It's died, isn't it? We did a thing in 2019 with this guy from BuzzFeed. He went exposed all this CTV fraud. Said this was going to happen, apps in the background, literally crickets. No one took a bit of notice, so we didn't bother doing it again. And maybe there's something that broadcasters are going to hold on to a little bit more. Nicole, you've worked for some of the streamers in the US. So can you pick? They've spent a ton of money, haven't they, on some of the streaming, right? So you get two questions. You get to pick one of the winners and losers in the US market, because they've invested a lot. They're not all going to win. It's not possible. There's so many platforms in the US. So pick one of the winners, pick one of the losers, and then tell us, you're passionate that broadcasters have got the keys to the kingdom, but perhaps not unlocking like all the revenue potential. Tell us about that. But you got to pick a winner and a loser from the US.
Okay, so I'm going to pick a winner. Full stop. I'm not going to talk about any losers. I think everybody's kind of in a different phase of evolution. I think that some of the so here's where we see a lot of success from streamers and broadcasters who start to work with programmatic partners, is they take their deep experience of publishing and being a broadcaster and understanding how it is that they have built a very sophisticated, complicated, and successful business over decades, and then looked at the different outlets through which they monetize their supply and understood where is it that programmatic makes the most sense. And from there you build. You take small bites and you get to a point where you see some success and you open it up a little bit more. I think some broadcasters who believe that perhaps it's a race to the bottom or maybe everything is fraud, it is our responsibility from the tech community to help demystify some of that information. And I'm not going to say a loser.
Did you pick a winner? You didn't pick a winner. You didn't pick. You dodged it both.
I did.
It's like Alan Moss all over again.
I think Disney and Hulu do a great job. I think NBC does a great job. I think Paramount does a great job.
That is the most US answer ever. They all do a great job. Come on, there's got to be a loser. Ben, is there going to be a loser? Quickly, yes. No?
I think Google TV, their subscription service.
Hammer Google. Probably. That is smart.
It's kind of an easy
in
one.
This environment.
Well, by the way, not Google proper. I'm just talking about their VMBPD. I just think unless it grows, I want to caveat that.
Okay. Fuck, that's a good dodge, wasn't it? So do you think that broadcasters are missing out on untapped demand because they're not doing programmatic very well?
I think that there is demand that is shifting to streaming that is coming from places that broadcasters may not already be engaged with, like social, right? And performance buyers who are buying on social, buying on search, and want to expand to CTV because they can now buy it programmatically, because they get that real-time feedback loop. These are buyers that have not really been addressable to broadcasters in the past. So do I think they're purposely missing something? They're just not, doing something wrong? No, I think there is more to come to broadcasters, and these are buyers that are very different from the buyers that we've known in the past.
Kelly, tech game, are you missing out on business accidentally or not on purpose, according to Nicole?
We're not doing it on purpose. Look, I think I've said it before. I've always been a little bit wary of programmatic. I think it's an area that I think it was Mark Ritson who said that programmatic was a black box full of turds and spiders. And I've been
turds and spiders.
Turds and spiders, yeah.
That's a strange mix.
We took the view that when from a digital perspective, we just wanted to own and control the value chain. We didn't want our ad revenue. We didn't want to be paying 49 cents in the dollar that's happened in the online display world. So we've built our own platform. It's ubiquitous in the market. We see every pound that's spent on ITVX, is spent with ITVX. It's not going anywhere else. I'm not saying we'll never get into that at all, but the platform we built suits our commercial needs today. That may not be the case going forward, but at the moment it really suits Honey. We don't get into biddable. We understand, all of our users are logged in, registered users, so we're not trying to find out who we're serving to. We know exactly who they are. We want our inventory to be. We don't want our inventory to be put on the same platform as lower quality inventory. And as I said, we don't want to pay the tech tax at the moment. So that's the route we've gone at the moment. And we don't have necessarily a big demand issue. For us, we probably need more supply. So at the moment, it's
in digital environments.
Digital environment, yeah. We've as I said, ITVX is growing dramatically, but we've been able to create demand ourselves through Planet V. We've got 1,000 new to TV advertisers on air through the platform over the last 12 months. So so we're comfortable it delivers for our commercial needs today. Whether that changes in the future, time will tell.
Okay.
Can I just comment on the turds and spiders really quickly? No, I appreciate that, and I think that's a really important point to sort of talk about in that your experience with programmatic is entirely within your control. And you just described, like, you have a business model that works really well for you, and you will enter the biddable market in a way that is most comfortable for you. You don't have to, get into that race to the bottom or the deep dark alley, right? Like, I think publishers sometimes forget how much control they have over their tech relationships.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, like I went to programmatic. And what we've seen in the US is there are some major broadcasters, major streamers who have said, I'm going to let this part of my supply go into a biddable marketplace, and they've seen increased yield, increased value beyond any kind of the set fixed price that they would have worked out, in an upfront, because they know if it is in a controlled, safe marketplace with tech providers that you trust and who understand your business and support you the right way, you can actually make a lot more from programmatic. This whole like race to the bottom is this paradigm we've all had in our head for some reason that doesn't have to be true, right?
No.
So,
Jodi, how do you feel about that? Like, because another part of it is about losing control. The Australians, a great example. They've gone like 78% programmatic, and the broadcasters have told me they feel as though they're not in the room with the clients now. They've lost a bit of control to the platforms that they work with. Do you have that fear? Are you embracing programmatic in order to expand your demand, or how are you managing it in your market?
Yeah, we are. I mean, we have periods of time where we run out of inventory as well, particularly against younger demographics. So I think from that perspective, as long as we're constantly offering a choice to our advertisers and agencies, we've actually seen probably programmatic halt in our market, and actually we're starting to see this growth of direct, IOs. And
direct with the client, right?
Direct with the client, and to pick up on Kelly's point, I mean, we've launched new AI creative tools. We've certainly unlocked the small, medium business market. So we're bringing on new advertisers as well who, will just deal with us directly. And that's a growth market. So we've got to continue to offer both options, I think.
Yeah. Fabrice, what's your position on this?
I think we have to adapt to the demand, so we do everything. I say we work, of course, a lot with agencies on a classic trading, on linear and digital. We also work on programmatic, only PG, because our basic would be controlling the price and the inventory. So, the limits would be never abandon. Your Australian example is scary. Never abandon the price and the availability of the inventory. So but some clients only want to buy programmatic. So all major DSPs. We launched addressable, and people love to buy it programmatically. Sometimes, if I were them, I would buy linear TV instead. But they prefer to have the sensation of the hyper targeting. Their choice. So different kind of customers, different kind of answers. The only thing is that my fear, you were asking about fears before, is that the good thing is that the pie is growing. The video consumption is not. We had debates with Yen was talking about linear ratings, blah blah blah. It's something for the past time. We see premium video consumption is growing, but we have some people coming in. I hate the word CTV because you have the sensation
what word would you have instead of CTV?
I don't want to mention the C for crap. My fear is that with the pie is growing, it's good, but we have to defend that premiumness of what is TV in an extended definition, because some clients, there is a good momentum about the TV screen. So advertisers want the TV screen to understand. Our storytelling worked. They love the TV screen, but it's not because it's TV that it's premium.
Yeah.
And it's not because it's connected that it's measured. So sometimes some advertisers are buying some inventory that they believe it's TV stamped. And you were mentioning fraud and so on. So this is my only fear about trading programmatically. If it's not PG, if you don't control price and inventory.
I think it's a really interesting debate though, because like with James, who was saying earlier, simplicity is key, and clients. Do you remember we had M&S on the stage last year? They were saying, God, it's so frustrating. It was like Thursday or Friday, they need to spend money and they can't spend it on telly, and they're the most effective medium. We had that last year, and I think it was Dags in the room, Kelly, and I spoke to you about it.
Yeah.
A year on, it's still the same problem.
It's not. If anyone wants to buy on ITVX tonight,
If you have the available inventory, I guess.
yeah, of course. But on the whole, you can buy really late. You can buy late on linear. You can buy late on digital. I think this is kind of one of the things I think is really shifted in TV. We don't charge for being late on linear TV anymore. We don't charge for being late, and you can do it on the day. And I think that's probably an important message to get across. But look, the thing for me though is I do feel as an industry we spend too much time talking about the plumbing and not enough time talking about the effectiveness. Ultimately, I look at Nick Manning and Brian Jacobs, I think, are doing a great job in this area. But it's getting back to the basics of advertising. Our right to win in television is effectiveness. And if you look at all of the research data out there, ThinkBox commissioned an amazing study this year, a second study, profitability, proving that television, yet again, and it's the biggest meta-analysis of econometric models that they've done, 141 clients. TV outshines every other media in driving profitability. If you look at the IPA Effectiveness Awards, the gold standard of effectiveness, TV is at the heart of every single gold winner. You look at what any of the academics out there, whether it's Ritson, whether it's Burnett and Field, whether it's the guys at System 1, everything points to TV, and yet the money is leaking out. And I think that's the message I think we're trying to get across as a TV business. Is it's almost like effectiveness, and that's why we're investing in outcomes to prove the effectiveness of television.
A lot of clients recognise that, but there's clearly something missing if other mediums such as social, even at home, I think even radio growing and TV's declining.
Yeah.
There's no rational sense for it. But I think that there's other areas where TV can make money beyond advertising. I think you've got a very strong brand, you've got a loyal audience. I know you're doing shorts like Ian Whittaker was suggesting. How's that working out? Like cutting down content and selling ads around it, doing things like the digital guys doing. Is that working out well for you? Yeah,
it really is. We've actually created this whole new ecosystem of short form news content in particular. So, no longer does the news articles just stand in the 1 hour linear broadcast, but we chop it up and create different ways of putting that new video pool together, and that's actually driving real growth. It's bringing in different audiences, and it's bringing people back into that platform on a daily basis as well. So no, it's
and you're
well.
repurposing inventory that you've already got. So
news and sports, those two things in particular.
Yeah.
It's free. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Ben, new ways of making money that.
Well, I mean, one of the benefits of the shift, especially with the direct-to-consumer streaming services, is that now for the first time broadcasters have an abundance of first-party data. Historically, they've been disintermediated from that data. The distributors, pay TV has always been in a great spot because they collect the data. But I think now that they've got a direct-to-consumer relationship and they've got an abundance of data, the ways that they could harness and optimize yield based on that is significant. And yes, it needs to get bounced up against the currency in terms of supporting the general marketplace. But in terms of proving the efficacy, having deterministic data that's authenticated every month, and every time someone logs in, they're signing in, so it's not like you're guessing about identity. They've got a deterministic way to measure outcomes, and I think that first-party data is really going to be a game changer going forward.
And I know this is like a US thing, but commerce is like big, isn't it? I saw a thing with NBCU who are literally tying what's on TV, and you can buy all the stuff. Yeah. You're seeing a lot more of that sort of stuff coming?
Seeing a lot more of that. Viewers like the idea of being able to, have that real-time opportunity to make a purchase. Commerce, I kind of see it developing in two ways. One is these interactive, shoppable units that are easy to interact with. Right now, it's really based on kind of like QR codes, so you can do more of the shopping on your phone. Pretty soon, I think the OEMs are really going to own the future of commerce because of the way they design remotes to make it really easy for folks to interact. And then the data, first-party data. You've got rich first-party data with someone like Instacart married to NBCU. I mean, that's a very powerful way to target somebody looking for eggs in that moment.
Yeah, and Kelly, ITV, you've got three pillars. So you described it. Ka-ching, gaming,
Yeah.
and YouTube. The big bad Google.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain those three?
Well, they're the kind of revenue diversification. They're the three areas we're focusing on at the moment. But Kaching is basically getting into commerce. It's affiliate marketing. We've created a brand.
That's leveraging your existing brand, though, to your loyal audience, which is what I was saying earlier, which is brilliant.
Secondly, when I say gaming, we're talking kind of the softer end of the gaming market. So not kind of casino, sports book, but the kind of softer. We're creating brands around that to drive revenue, and we're kind of starting to lean more into YouTube. I know Ian thinks it's the worst decision in the world, and look, I'd have said 2 years ago I'd have probably said over my dead body, but we've thought carefully about it. If we watch what Channel 4 have done, they went probably 18 months ago. It hasn't cannibalised their audience, and we have got a big studios business. They're going to put long form up there, their archive up there anyway. And so we're going to sell that ourselves and join the YouTube partner program. And look, it's one of those things. Going back to his war, his war analogy. He said, you shouldn't do something that you can't pull back from. We certainly can pull back from. If this doesn't work, you can take it down. You can stop selling it. But we're gonna give that a go over the next couple of years. And look, I totally get all of his arguments, but it feels to me that we've got an opportunity to build a relatively decent-sized business quite quickly on YouTube.
Because the issue is they're going to clients and saying, we're TV, but we're cheaper, and we've got ITV content, so come to us.
Yeah, but
you're giving them sort of...
You can't buy ITV content specifically from YouTube.
It doesn't matter, you're giving them the...
but you can't go out and buy it. We can guarantee an advertiser brand safe, trusted, professionally produced content on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they can't.
Fair enough. Jodi, you have to be on YouTube, do you think? Are you on YouTube too?
Not yet.
To be decided.
Not yet. I'm thinking about it. I'll keep an eye, Kelly, on how it goes. Yeah, no, look, we've certainly looked at what Channel 4's done, and we might dabble in it in the sports space.
Yeah.
But we've decided that with news, that is our single biggest point of difference, and so we need to retain as much of that on our platform as possible.
Fabrice, final word to YouTube or not to YouTube?
We have billions of video on YouTube, but for sample. We just release some extracts of...
Is that the Champions League, like highlights and stuff?
For instance. And
do you make money from
the
that?
idea is we make some money in advertising, but we drive a subscription. So we drive, and longer forms are come back to my Canal to be consumed there. Mm-hmm. So we both drive loyalty and new subscribers. So that's a virtuous circle.
Okay, wonderful. I know there's drinks now. I've got the big bad boss looking at me with those evil piercing eyes. He wants to get me off stage, which is fair enough. I had about 6 reams of stuff to go through here to really get to the bottom of the business of television. I couldn't get through a fraction of it, but I think we can all agree that the panelists were absolutely excellent. So let's give them a massive round of applause.